Good morning, Tampa Bay. Wednesday, June 1st, Channelside Sports in the morning. I am Danny. Finally, we have some Tampa Bay Lightning hockey coming back to our screen, coming back to our city. It's been 8 days. It's been a long time. It's been a long time since we have gotten the Tampa Bay Lightning on the ice, for better or for worse. They are traveling to New York tonight. We'll get into that in a little bit. The Buccaneers have made some offseason moves, signed Akeem Hicks. Is that good or bad? Depends on your take. I've got some numbers, as you know how I am with the stats. PFF continues to roll out their rankings. All the Buccaneers news will be at the end of the show as per usual. I guess we'll start with the Tampa Bay Rays. The Rays lost again to the Rangers. This time they were blanked. Yeah, it's here. It's not looking good. As you see, the Rays have now fallen to third place in the AL East, behind, of course, the Yankees, who absolutely obliterated the Angels yesterday, 9-1. And the Blue Jays, who are on a tear of their own. They pulled off a 6-5 win over the White Sox. Yeah, I don't know where to go with this Tampa Bay Rays team. I don't understand the level of inconsistency. I don't know if it starts in the front office, if it's in the locker room, if it's in the coaching staff. It's inexplainable. And it's, it's June 1st. All right. We've said it since week one, since game one of the regular season. You can't fall behind and play catch up in the summer months. The summer months are when the good teams pull away. What are the Rays going to do? We don't know what they're going to do. Are they a good team? Are they not a good team? They should be a good team. They've got all of the talent there. Yeah, we know the superstars, the spending money, and we know they don't do that. But they haven't always needed to do that to be good. They're listed as a contender for a reason. ESPN says that they are too good to miss the playoffs for a reason. Where is this team, though? Where is this Tampa Bay Rays team that is too good to miss the playoffs, as they're falling to teams that were under 500 in the Texas Rangers that are now at 500 because they keep losing to the Texas Rangers? I know Martin Perez has the best ERA in the major leagues. I'll give him that. But when you only have 3 hits and you have 0 runs scored, you're not doing yourselves any justice. You can't win games if you can't score any runs. That's the problem for this Tampa Bay Rays team, is you need to score runs, especially when you've got a fluky bullpen. Starting pitching, fine. Yarborough, fine. Rasmussen had a bad day yesterday on Monday. Understandable. Totally get it. Of course, we got Shane McClanahan, who's an absolute stud this season. But how do you overcome these woes that you're experiencing as a team heading into these summer months? That's what they need to figure out. And they need to figure out very, very quickly if this is the roster to get them to the promised land. Will they make that leap and get into the World Series and hold up the trophy? I don't know. It doesn't appear that this is a team that is ready to make a championship run, at least at this point. We're not hitting the panic button. Summer. It's June 1st. We get it. However, you got to start making these adjustments. You have to go into the summer ready to propel into the fall, because August, September, October are coming. It's not that far off. So you got to start getting your shit together. Make the right changes. If you got to make a trade, pull the trigger on a trade. If you got to sign somebody in free agency, sign somebody in free agency. You got to make changes so you do not fall behind. The Yankees are the team to beat. I get it. Maybe they crumble after the All-Star break. We've got a long time until then. So they've got a long time to extend that lead. So who knows with the Tampa Bay Rays team? If we're looking at the numbers for the Rays leading up to today, Wander Franco is leading the team in batting average with 270. That's good enough for 47th in the league. Okay. 47th. That's not good. Kevin Kiermaier has 6 home runs, leading the team. Tied for 58th in the league. The best offensive stat that they have is Yandy Diaz with an on-base percentage of 374, which is 22nd in the league. Guys, you're not going to get anywhere if your best ranking is 22nd. You're just not going to get anywhere. Maybe we need more batting practice. Something's got to change. They've got to start generating runs because you can't put all of the weight in hopes that Shane McClanahan is going to throw 1-hit, 2-hit games. You can't put all of your weight hoping that Drew Rasmussen is not going to be human and have a bad day. You can't do that. You have to have somebody in your lineup that is consistent. Talked about that yesterday. Do they need a superstar? No, they don't need a they don't need an Aaron Judge or a Mike Trout, but you need somebody that is consistent and consistently able to step up. If Wander Franco is the future of your team, mold him to be the future of your team. How can we help Wander Franco become more consistent? How can we take that 47th in the league and jump that to 15, top 15 in the league? That's not asking for too much. You're getting paid big money. Was it less than we all thought? Sure, it was less than we thought they were going to offer you, but you signed, buddy. I don't even have anything more to say on the Rays. I really don't. It's frustrating. It's very frustrating watching this Tampa Bay Rays team lose to teams that they should beat and then split series with teams that they need to. They needed to split the series with the Yankees. They split the series with the Yankees. They needed to split the series with the Angels. They did that. And now you're down 0-2 to the Rangers? And you were shut out last night? Like, it's unacceptable. And they need to figure it out going forward. And look, we'll see what happens tonight. Tonight is the third game of the series. Another 8 p.m. first pitch. We'll see what happens. Hopefully tomorrow we've got better news on the Tampa Bay Rays, because it's not looking too good for them. In better news, as you see it right there, finally the Tampa Bay Lightning are back. Look, sweeping a team, I've said this ever since they swept the Panthers. It's great, right? Especially when it's a rival. Although I don't know if the Panthers know that they have a rivalry with the Tampa Bay Lightning. I don't know if Panthers fans, the few and far between Panthers fans, I don't know if they're aware that there is some unspoken rivalry between the Panthers and the Lightning, simply because we both play in the state of Florida. Game 1 lines per Hard Rock Sportsbook. The Lightning are favored. They're minus 130. Rangers are plus 110. Of course, the game is in Madison Square Garden tonight. Over-under is set at 5.5. This is a very, very tightly contested series. In games that are 2 or less goals scored, the Rangers have won 7 of those during the regular season, which is second best in the NHL. While the Bolts have won 3 games with 2 or less goals in the playoffs, which is also the best in the NHL. Of course, Andrei Vasilevsky is an absolute brick wall. However, his counterpart, Igor Shesterkin, he's just as good. He's a front runner for the Vezina Trophy. Obviously, that's the best goalie in the NHL award. it's going to be a very, very tight series, and it's going to be very entertaining. Said it yesterday. It's a Cinderella story season for the New York Rangers, and you have to keep that in mind. The Lightning were able to frustrate the Florida Panthers by shutting down all of their shots for the most part, by playing solid defense. The New York Rangers they're not startled, they don't get frustrated, they don't get pissed off when a team is playing tight defense against them. And that's the thing that is going to be different in this series than it was in the previous series. The Rangers like the close games. The Panthers were just used to shooting the lights out and just outscoring teams. Step up your defense. And I think this is really, really where your veteran leadership is going to come into play if you're the Tampa Bay Lightning team. Is, look, we're in the Eastern Conference Final. We've won back-to-back championships. We don't necessarily have anything left to prove. People are going to sit here and they're going to talk about, the bubble championship. And look, a championship is a championship. You want to talk about salary cap or supposedly Nikita Kucherov having a fake hip injury, which apparently was a fake surgery. Look, we can make all of the excuses we want, but the fact remains is that the Tampa Bay Lightning have won back-to-back Stanley Cup championships. ESPN's Emily Kaplan even says that the Bolts are destined for something special after sweeping the Panthers without Braden Point. And it's true. Braden Point, obviously he went down in Game 7 against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Missed the entire series against the Panthers. And they still got it done. There was no... He's the best goal-scoring player in the NHL in the playoffs. Like, nobody scored more goals than he has since he's entered the league. Normally, you would miss somebody like that. I'm sure, obviously they do miss him on the ice, but he hasn't been needed, which just shows you how much all of the other guys on this team are stepping up. John Cooper says that Igor Shesterkin is a great goalie, but until he holds the cup, my guy is the best. And I love that. I absolutely love that line of, all right, well, let me prop you up, but hold on, pump the brakes just a little bit because you're not quite as good as my guy because he's got other things that you do not have. And this is, obviously this is kind of been Vazzy's worst playoff run thus far in his career. And it's still been a damn good playoff run. And that's the thing that is exciting about watching this team, is that the deeper you go into the playoffs, the better Andrei Vasilevskiy plays. The more he will shut down your offense. The more he will make multiple stops, not give up rebounds, not allow those second chance opportunities for the opposing team's offense. Help clear the puck out of the defensive zone. That's a huge thing, is clearing the puck out of your own zone. Bad things happen if you can't clear the puck out of your zone. So the Tampa Bay Lightning need to be very, very mindful that they are clearing the puck and that they are also cleaning up the penalties. They're averaging 4.69 penalties per game throughout the playoffs. That's not good. That's the third most in the NHL. They're averaging almost 5 penalties per game. Obviously, you do the math. That's 10 minutes with at least one man down. So that's definitely a problematic statement that the Tampa Bay Lightning need to clean up. They are 0-2-1 against the Rangers this season. They lost 2 and then they lost in overtime. Shesterkin is averaging 1.33 goals against this season against the Lightning with a .957 save percentage. So he's shutting these. He's if we're looking at Andrei Vasilevskiy, you know that Spider-Man meme where they're all kind of pointing at each other. That's almost what the New York Rangers goalie is looking like. And talk about channeling. Like you look at the Rangers have gone from Hendrik Lundqvist to where they are now. Like there's something special. Brian Engblom said there's got to be something in the water inside that goaltender's locker room to where you go from a great goalie to a great goalie. There's no in between. It just it didn't top off. It didn't max out. It didn't go away. Nikita Kucherov, I find this interesting. So, per our friends at Hard Rock Sportsbook, Chris Kreider is favorited to score first in tonight's game at plus 750. What does that tell you? The Lightning are going to be playing from behind for a little bit during this game. Okay, I can understand that. Nikita Kucherov plus 800. Steven Stamkos plus 900. The Lightning are okay playing from behind. They're poised. We've seen that. We saw that against, not necessarily against the Panthers, but we saw that a lot against the Maple Leafs, where the Tampa Bay Lightning were getting behind because the Leafs are a quick team. The Rangers are a quick team. Look, the Lightning have already seen this team. The Lightning have seen the New York Rangers when they played the Montreal, good Lord, when they played the Toronto Maple Leafs. Easy for me to say. The big difference between the Maple Leafs and the Rangers is that goal. That's the big difference between the two teams. The Rangers have a better goalie. So if you're looking at how do we adjust and make changes with the New York Rangers, you watch game tape on the Maple Leafs. See what you did wrong in that series and correct it so you don't have to go 7 games. I don't see the Western Conference Finals between the Edmonton Oilers and Colorado Avalanche going 7 games. Connor McDavid is playing absolutely out of his mind. Both he and Leon Draisaitl are the 5th and 6th players in NHL history to score 25 points in 12 games. Like you're talking about, you're in company now with Mark Messier, Mario Lemieux, and Wayne Gretzky. If you're McDavid and Draisaitl, I don't see that series going 7 games. So you don't want to give them any rest. So if you're the Tampa Bay Lightning, you want to come in, you want to handle business, you want to win in, let's say 5, maybe 6. Obviously, the sweep would be beautiful, and we all know how Andrei Vasilevsky performs in the final games. I think he's allowed 23 goals in 12 Eastern Conference Final games. He had 13 Eastern Conference Finals games. He had 7 last season against the Rangers and 6 against the Islanders both years. So this is the 3rd year in a row they're playing against a New York team. But the cup still runs through Tampa Bay. It's a hockey town. SEC team or not, doesn't matter. Still, the cup still comes through Tampa Bay. And until they lose, doesn't matter. They are the team to beat. Doesn't matter if it doesn't matter if the Colorado Avalanche are the favored team in all the sports books. I think that's the interesting thing, is that the Colorado Avalanche do not look like the best team right now. I would argue that the Lightning are the best team, and I'm not saying that because I'm a fan. I would argue that the Lightning look like they're the best team because they're the most well-rounded team. Look at all of the goals that Calgary scored against Edmonton. Edmonton is in the position they are in because they've got great superstar offensive players. They really have 3 of them. Evander Kane is playing out of his mind this postseason as well. But the Tampa Bay Lightning are good on all fronts. They can score. They can shut you down. Oh, and by the way, they've got the brick wall inside the goal in Andrei Vasilevsky. So they are the team to beat. They have the least amount to prove. Everybody is playing. And I think here's your difference. When you get to the point where the Tampa Bay Lightning are, everybody is playing to beat you because they want to win, and you're just playing You're just playing to not get beat, which, look, I get if you want to draw parallels between like a prevent defense. I get that. And prevent defense doesn't always work. Of course, these are football parallels I'm drawing here, but it's relevant in all sports. If the Lightning go up 3-0 and then they pull back, there's a good chance that they're going to allow a couple of goals. We saw it against the Maple Leafs. That happened, I think might have been game 3 where it happened, where they were up 3-0, or game 4, I believe. Nonetheless, it can happen. Your difference here is that Vazzy steps up the deeper you go into the playoffs. You've got all of these veteran leaders, and they're making these hustle plays. We talked about Corey Perry diving poke checks. They're great on the back check. They're great on the forecheck. They're closing down. And this is the time where you see this championship team really, really shine. And it starts tonight at Madison Square Garden in New York City. I'm going Bolts. I'm going Bolts tonight. I don't have a score prediction. I think it'll be close, though. Hey, you know what? I'm going to go 2-1 Bolts. I'm going to go 2-1 because we need talking points in the media. We need a close game. We need both goaltenders to look like studs and one to scoot pass, right? And I'd rather have it scoot past their guy than our guy. So I'm going to go 2-1 Tampa Bay Lightning tonight in New York City. They go up early. They steal the home ice advantage. And we'll see what happens on Friday in game 2. Maybe the Rangers will tie it up and even the series 1-1, but I don't really know. That's the beauty of playoff hockey. I'm ready for some big hits. I'm ready to see how quick this team comes out. I talked about this yesterday. When you've got a team that has taken off as much time as the Lightning have, that can work against you. So I'm very interested to see, will this team come out flat or will this team come out on fire? Because the Rangers, while they're not, at least in the regular season, they were not a prolific scoring team. They've stepped it up a little bit in the playoffs. But my concern is that their goalie is very good. And you don't want to get down early because your chances of scoring on them, it's not that good. 1.33 goals against average. That's the Lightning's regular season numbers against chess. That's it. So you can't get down early. Play with urgency. How many times did I say that against the Maple Leafs and the Panthers? Come out with a sense of urgency. Come out like it's a game 7. Just come out firing on all cylinders. Force that rust to work itself off. And they'll get the win tonight. 2-1. I'm calling it. And if they don't win 2-1, I apologize. But they're going to win. I can feel it. I can feel it. Feel it in my soul that the Lightning are going to win tonight. Yeah, I'm confident with that. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers continue to make some offseason moves. This is probably my favorite time of the year, right? But right after, from free agency up until preseason, this is probably my favorite time of the NFL season, at least from a journalistic standpoint, because this is when you get to grind game film. This is when you get to check stats and compare stats and do things that you just don't really have a whole lot of time to do during the regular season. Former Chicago Bear Akeem Hicks signs for 1 year with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a maximum value of a $10 million contract. And look, I've already seen it. Akeem Hicks was signed shortly after we went off the air yesterday. I've already seen the conversations of going, yeah, but last season he only had 3 sacks. Yeah, he was on Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears were not a good team. Chicago Bears are probably not going to be a good team this season either. So if he stayed with the Chicago Bears, I would expect similar numbers. Last season, Akeem Hicks totaled 25 tackles, 5 tackles for a loss, and 3.5 sacks. I get it. But here's the thing. He's a better value than Ndamukong Suh is at this point. Unfortunately, that's Ndamukong Suh is reliable in the fact that he's only missed 2 games ever in his career. I'm good with that. If you compare Akeem Hicks to Ndamukong Suh since 2019, if you go per game numbers, Akeem Hicks is averaging 2.0 tackles per game, and Ndamukong Suh is averaging 1.3. They're both averaging 0.3 sacks per game. And oh, by the way, Ndamukong Suh has played in 20 more games than Akeem Hicks has since 2019, with 49 to Akeem Hicks's 29. That kind of tells me everything that I need to know about why we signed Akeem Hicks. Does that mean that Ndamukong Suh is gone for good? I would say probably yes. It looks like Ndamukong Suh is going to be gone. Obviously, the Buccaneers drafted Logan Hall. And now with the signing of Hicks, it appears that the writing is on the wall. Actually, we might have something similar in terms of a signing today. The Raiders are very interested in Ndamukong Suh, and they have cap space that clears today. So we'll see. Will Ndamukong Suh line up with Max Crosby? That's going to be a very good defensive line for the Las Vegas Raiders if they do pick up Ndamukong Suh. But I'm happy with the pickup of. I'm happy that the Buccaneers signed Akeem Hicks. I saw him. 387 career tackles, 40.5 career sacks. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with those numbers because you're going to put him in a position next to Vita Vea, right? You're gonna put him in a position to win. You're gonna put him in a good position. You're gonna have Logan Hall. You're gonna have Vita Vea. You're gonna have this is a perfect signing of a veteran player to put around younger guys. A solid veteran leader to put around younger guys. And I think that's the big point in bringing in somebody like Akeem Hicks. And Ndamukong Suh just wanted too much money. That's what it boils down to. And that's fine. It's A-okay if Ndamukong Suh wanted too much money and we just couldn't afford him. I'm fine with that. Let's cut ties, move on. They moved on. They drafted a fantastic player in Logan Hall, who, by the way, Will Golson on the Pewter Report podcast said that Logan Hall is more athletic than J.J. Watt in his prime. Yeah, that's high praise. I know some people are sitting there going, yeah, but what is he supposed to say? I hate that argument, by the way. Yeah, what's he supposed to say? Nothing. You don't just make shit up to say it. If you believe it, you say it. You don't just sit there and go, yeah, like, what can I make up about Logan Hall today on a podcast? Do you think Will Golson cares if he's in the headlines? No. He doesn't care. So I mean, it's difficult. Look, when Logan Hall was drafted, he was my pick for the Buccaneers at 28. This is what I told people, and too many people in Bucs groups go, "Yeah, you don't know football." Okay. Whenever you do mock drafts, it's like immediately like you post a mock draft, People don't even have to read it, and they just hit a laughing emoji because everybody is an armchair GM. Everybody sits on their couch, and everybody knows football better than those who actually work in football. I get it. Okay. Well, here he is. Logan Hall is a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. That's fine. It's A-okay. If he's getting all of this praise from his teammates, I get it, and I'm cool with that. I just need him to slide in. We need him to have a will he have a Devin White style rookie year? Probably not. He's not going to be that good in his rookie year. That's the issue that Devin White had. He was so good in his rookie year that he set that bar way too high that when he played very well in his second year, people go, "Whoa, hey, what the hell happened to Devin White? He's not as good as he was." That doesn't mean he wasn't that good, but look, Logan Hall is the perfect fit for what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers needed. He was their guy all along. And I'm expecting a very good season from him, especially with the players that are around him. He's going to be good because of the system that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have on defense. Is he more athletic than a JJ Watt in his prime? That's a hard argument to make. Because JJ Watt in his prime was multiple time defensive player of the year. Like I'm assuming I'm assuming Andrew said pump the brakes on the JJ Watt comment as well. But look, it's rough. Like that is a hard comparison to make, and Will Golston sees it more than he sees Logan Hall in the practice field, in the weight room, and all of these things more than we do. So does that mean that he's incorrect? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. And then this is why this is the best time of the year, because everybody's got their rankings coming out. We're all trying to predict what happens during the regular season. The bulk of the free agents are signed. The bulk of all of your blockbuster trades are done. The draft is completed. Practices are starting. People are showing up. Warren Sapp was at OTAs yesterday. A lot of people were not at OTAs yesterday, including Vita Vea, who I really wanted to. If you follow the Buccaneers, you know that Warren Sapp's not a big fan of Vita Vea. And I would have loved for the two of them to be on the field together. I'm not saying I wanted a fight like WWE style, but I would have liked to have seen them interact in some form or fashion, at least during the media portion of their OTAs. And unfortunately, they didn't. We'll see. PFF has released their top 15 tight ends in the NFL heading into the 2022 season. Rob Gronkowski is number 7. Of course, he doesn't have a team currently. And I find that interesting. Like, why? I'm not sure why you rank Rob Gronkowski at number 7 when he doesn't even have a team. Like, to me, that's like ranking Tom Brady after he retired, when we all kind of figured that it wasn't really a real retirement. That's like ranking Tom Brady as the number 1, number 2 quarterback. Yeah, but he might play. But we don't know if he's going to play. So why even put him on a rank? Make him like an honorable mention. You know who's not an honorable mention in the top 15 is Cameron Brate. Do I think Brate is a top 15 tight end? Probably not. So I'm not entirely shocked that he didn't make the list. However, it's alarming to see a former Buccaneer player in Rob Gronkowski make the list while not even on a team, and Cameron Brate is not even listed in the top 15. Like that, to me, that's where it gets a little wishy-washy for me. I guess you got either sign Gronk or don't. Like that's what it's boiling down to. Tom Brady continues to post videos with Rob Gronkowski. You know, we saw the batting practice last week. They're still doing stuff. Like, the Tommy and Gronky is probably going to come back. Their YouTube videos, I get that you're best friends, but just make an announcement already. Are you going to come back or are you not going to come back? Let the team move on, let the fans move on, and then let yourself move on, Rob. Or come back and do it. You can resign now and say, "Hey, I'm going to resign, but I don't want to do any offseason stuff." That's fine. You're Rob Gronkowski. I'm pretty sure you can get away with saying, "Hey, I'll sign, but I don't want to report until August." Why would that be an issue? Or I'll come in 1 day a week. I'll hit the weight room with the guys but I don't really want to go through any full practices when we start off-season workouts. I get it. You want to hang out, you want to do Rob Gronkowski things. So continue to do those, continue to enjoy your life, but just make a decision already. It's holding up so much. It's holding up so much with Gronk's inability to make a decision. And I'm sure he's probably undecided, and that could be the root of why we haven't heard either which way. But look, it's June 1st. I think that's like the 5th time I've said this on this show. It's my birthday month. Make a decision already. And use your weight as one of the greatest tight ends in the history of this game and say, I'm not going to come in until blank, and leave it at that. And that will be everything that you will need. And your mind will be at ease. And damn it, our minds will be set at ease as well, because we spend so much time as fans talking about Rob Gronkowski. And I feel like we're slighting Cameron Brate, but here's the problem: is Cameron Brate is a good, solid tight end. He's a great red zone threat, but he is not as good as Gronk is. And that's the problem. That's where your drop off is. And because Gronk is associated with the Buccaneers and he's associated with Tom Brady, we discredit Cameron Brate by just kind of throwing him under. He is the Buccaneers' number one tight end. By Gronk continuing to be associated with the team, even while not being signed with the team, it is a slight to Cameron Brate. And you know that he is aware of this as well. You know he sees all of the headlines. He sees the chatter on social media. Does he respond? No, of course not. He's not an idiot, but he sees this. Everybody sees, okay, like they're continuing to talk about Gronk. I'm continuing to talk about Gronk. Everybody is doing it. And eventually that's going to weigh in, and it's just going to piss you off if it hasn't already. I know Cameron Brate just recently got married. He's not like, don't let this man enjoy his life as well. Just make a decision already. Speaking of PFF, as we just went on a rant about their tight end rankings, their interior defenders rankings were posted this morning. We'll go through the top 10 here. Kind of round out the remainder of the show here with PFF's interior defensive lineman rankings. Number 1, of course, is Aaron Donald from the Los Angeles Rams. I think that kind of goes without saying. But here's another guy who has been very vocal about, I don't like my contract. I'm okay retiring if you don't give me a good contract. So is Aaron Donald actually going to retire? We don't know. I guess he's technically an active player, so we have to rank him. I guess just like Gronk is technically an active player. He hasn't officially retired or announced that he is retiring. Number 2 is Cam Hayward from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Totally okay with that. Complete game changer. We've got Chris Jones from the Kansas City Chiefs at number 3. DeForest Buckner with the Indianapolis Colts at number 4. Rounding out the top 5 is Grady Jarrett, of course, from the Atlanta Falcons. And look, I know I'm going to piss off a lot of Buccaneers fans because we have this unspoken hatred that we're supposed to have for everybody that's associated with other teams in our division, and I get it. But that speaks volumes for Grady Jarrett being the 5th ranked interior defensive lineman for PFF. So, if you're unfamiliar with how their rankings for this particular list went, it was based off of their play-by-play grades, which of course max out at 100, and also their wins above replacement. So Grady Jarrett is absolutely annihilating his backup, is essentially what this list is saying. Same with Aaron Donald, Cam Hayward, Chris Jones, and Forrest Buckner, and the remainder of the names that I'm going to read off on this list. If you look at the teams that are at least listed in the top 5, Rams, Steelers, Chiefs, Colts, Falcons. The Rams, the Chiefs, hell, even the Colts are all solid teams. We don't know where the Steelers are going to wind up because we don't know which version of Mitchell Trubisky is going to show up when he actually takes the field for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So the Steelers are a toss-up. We know the defense is going to be good. They still have TJ Watt. Obviously, they still have Cam Hayward, who is the second best interior lineman according to PFF. But they're all solid, good teams. When you look at the latter half of this top 10, you've got Kenny Clark from the Packers at 6, Vita Vea from our Buccaneers at 7, Jonathan Allen from the Washington Commanders at 8, Jeffrey Simmons at 9, Tennessee Titans, and number 10, rounding it out, Leonard Williams from the New York Football Giants. I'm okay with Vita Vea being at 7. I really am. Look, if you're a fan of any of the teams listed in this top 10, you should be happy. You should be very happy. If you're a Falcons fan, you should be ecstatic that you've got anybody ranked in a top 10 position at all. I'm looking at this list going Vita Vea at 7. I'm cool with that because I know that if we're looking at other positions on the field, on defense, hell, we had 2 or 3 players in the top 25 under 25, according to Pro Football Focus. I'm okay with Vita Vea being at number 7. I'm okay looking and going, okay, yeah, I could see Kenny Clark being a little bit better than Vita Vea. Obviously, we know Aaron Donald is a one-of-a-kind player. Cam Hayward has been doing this for a long time very well. DeForest Buckner was an idiotic trade for the San Francisco 49ers to send him to the Colts. Chris Jones has stepped up. Grady Jarrett is the only one that doesn't necessarily get a whole lot of shine because he's on a terrible team. Jonathan Allen of the Commanders, you say the same thing. Look, Leonard Williams is probably the only player on a terrible team that people would agree with being on this list, because I could see people going, Grady Jarrett at 5. No, especially us Bucs fans. I get it. But Vita Vea, him being number 7 is not a terrible thing. It's not. Basically, when you look at your win over replacement, I think that's where you start to weigh more heavily on how. That's what I like about Pro Football Focus is they don't just put stats. They're not using just plain box score stats of tackles and pressures and QB hits and things like that. They use the win above replacement. And that, to me, is where it makes these rankings more accurate. The Buccaneers have a great 1 and 2 system on defense. And for Vita Vea to be at number 7, I think that speaks volumes. Because when you're rotating players in, typically the backup player is the backup player for a reason because he wasn't good enough to be the starter. Most people couldn't tell you who Aaron Donald's backup is. It's just how it works. That is just how it works. I had some people commenting yesterday about AJ Brown and Mike and the Mike Evans comments that I was making. A lot of them were Titans fans that were angry at AJ Brown and jumped right on the bandwagon. AJ Brown's trash. Look, AJ Brown's not trash. AJ Brown is a good receiver, but he's not Mike Evans good. I had a lot of Philadelphia Eagles fans. We know how Philly fans work. A lot of Philadelphia Eagles fans were very pissed off at the slander that I was giving AJ Brown. I'm okay with that. Because I know for a fact that at the end of the day, Mike Evans is going into the Hall of Fame and AJ Brown will eventually just retire. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay if you want to try and challenge the credentials of an AJ Brown versus a Mike Evans, go for it. And I'm fine with that. And I don't mind that one bit. My basis of that argument for yesterday is that you're trying to tell me that Jalen Hurts and Tom Brady are on the same level. And that's why you have AJ Brown ranked ahead of Mike Evans. That's the root of this. Because there's not that much of a discrepancy between Jalen Hurts and Ryan Tannehill. So if you want to tell me that you think Jalen Hurts is that much better than Ryan Tannehill and that much closer to Tom Brady than Ryan Tannehill is, you are out of your mind. You have absolutely lost it. Whatever social media account you're going to tell me that I don't know football from, please log out of. Please go out, get some fresh air, because this ain't for you. It's not for you. Mike Evans is head and shoulders above AJ Brown on his worst day. It's on record now. It's going to be on YouTube. I'm going to post this on our social media. Feel free to tell me why I'm wrong. Feel free to tell me why I don't know football if you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan or if you're an AJ Brown fan. Will AJ Brown be targeted more than Mike Evans? Probably. Philadelphia doesn't have a wide receiver one. They have one now. They have AJ Brown. Mike Evans is probably going to be targeted more often than AJ Brown will until Chris Godwin comes back. Chris Godwin's he's going to miss. Currently, it's an uncertain amount of time as he recovers from that ACL surgery. But Mike Evans is going to be targeted just as often, if not more often, than AJ Brown. I would be willing to bet that Mike Evans will finish with at least 5 more touchdowns than AJ Brown will in this coming season. I know for a fact that Mike Evans is going to be over 1,000 yards receiving this season. Do I know that that's going to happen with AJ Brown? No, he's got Jalen Hurts. Look, I said yesterday, I think Jalen Hurts is going to develop into a great a very good NFL quarterback. The offensive playbook and the game planning in Philadelphia is atrocious. Nick Sirianni is not a good head coach. He's not a good offensive play caller. And that is going to be why Jalen Hurts is going to struggle. When every single play that you run is an RPO, and you're also not handing the ball off to Miles Sanders, your number one running back, bad things are going to happen for Philadelphia. And that's going to reflect on why A.J. Brown is not going to have as good of a season as Mike Evans. We know we're guaranteed 1,000 yards. He's done it every single season. Doesn't matter who the quarterback is. Doesn't matter how bad the team is. Mike Evans is consistent every single season. And we know that. We've learned that. And he's done it long enough to where you can say that it's a guarantee that he's going to do this, even if he misses a couple of games. Now we've got the extra game. So there's really no reason why he would not hit 1,000 yards. At least 10 touchdowns for Mike Evans. At the very minimum. A.J. Brown is all uncertain because he's in a new system. He's never played with Jalen Hurts. He's never played with the Philadelphia Eagles playbook. Mike Evans has done this time and time again. Sure, coaching staff has changed, schemes have changed, playbooks have changed. Sure, but it doesn't matter. A good receiver is a good receiver. We don't know what we're going to see from Jalen Hurts because we haven't seen enough from Jalen Hurts because he runs the ball more than he passes the ball. And Tom Brady chucked the ball up nearly 43 times a game last season. Tom Brady finished second in passing, first in passing. That's what we can expect. No risk it, no biscuit. Todd Bowles said he's exactly the same way as Bruce Arians, so it doesn't matter who is the actual head coach for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's all I got today. Going to wrap it up. Follow us on all of our social media platforms. Look for Channelside Sports, CHside Sports on the Twitter machine. Please make sure you like, subscribe, and drop some comments on the YouTube chat here. We'll respond. I'll respond from my personal account. How about that? You can feel free to say whatever you want to me. I'm okay with that. That's it. Tonight is the night. Eastern Conference Finals, Game 1, live, Madison Square Garden, New York City. Let's go, Lightning.